So, every time I watch that video, there's two things that it makes me think. The first thing it makes me think, which maybe you all were thinking as you were watching the video, is, oftentimes, or maybe most times, there's a pretty fine line between success and failure, mission possible and mission impossible. Sometimes it's in your hands and sometimes it's out of your hands, right? There's oftentimes a pretty fine line. So I think we can all agree on that. And I know another thing that I think we can all agree on, and that is that song's probably going to be stuck in your head the rest of the night. That's my gift to you. You're welcome. So we're here tonight to talk about change, and it's always around us. We can't escape it. And there's a saying that says the more things change, the more they stay the same, the more they are the same, right? Very specifically by Alphonse Karr. And so we've all heard the phrase, right? It's kind of cliche. The sad truth is that there's a lot more truth in this than not. When 70% or more of change initiatives are failing in organizations today, research is showing us that when we interview and survey change leaders and folks just like yourself in the project management community, 70% or more of projects fail to reach their objectives or their goals. So that's why it's the same, because nothing changed. We go through all the effort, we go through all the consternation, we go through all the money, and lo and behold, we're back where we were at the beginning. When you step back and you think about it, maybe there's a good reason for that. And we're going to address some of those causes this evening, but the reason that strikes me is this. In many of our companies, if not all of our companies, we thrive on and expect compliance. We thrive on and expect people to stay to the structure, stay to the process, stay to the defined way of working, the one source of truth, the one way of doing it properly. This is what we should do. Who here has an ISO quality system that you're following in your organization? Some formal quality system, right? That's going to guide the types of things that you do. So when we look at people at the end of the year and do their performance appraisals, what's one of the things we're looking at? How compliant was Troy? Did he follow the procedures, or was he always trying to bowl in someone else's alley at the bowling lanes, right? Or did we always have to tell him, get back in lane 27, Troy, that's where you're supposed to be bowling? So when we ask people to do things differently, it should surprise no one that they question, why are we wanting to do things differently? And they put up a bit of resistance. It's just the way it is when you think about it. So what are the two, number one and number two reasons that change initiatives are failing at that rate of 70%? The biggest one, at 39% of the respondents, said that it's negative employee attitudes. They just don't want to change. Well, we just talked about why they don't want to change, because we ask them every other day to stay the same. And the other is that the management behaviors aren't in line with what it takes to make change successful. The management behaviors. It's interesting, isn't it? That's where we're going to spend most of our time today, is talking about the behaviors that progressive and successful change leaders adopt and use in their organizations to make change successful. And I spent most of my corporate career in one way, shape, or form leading projects and managing projects. And I used to share with my coworkers all the time, being a project manager was one of the greatest positions you could have in a company, because everyone worked for you, but no one reported to you. So you didn't have to do budgets, you didn't have to do performance appraisals, none of that hiring and firing and interviewing and all that sort of stuff. But man, oh man, you had big teams working for you, and you had a great opportunity to influence the behaviors of others. There was many a day that I would go home from work and tell my wife, this role of being a project manager would be a lot easier if it wasn't for the people. Leadership's really hard when it comes to the people side. The other stuff is all fun and games, right? When you get to build new buildings and implement new software and implement new automation or whatever you're doing out in the factory. But the fact of the matter still comes back to, how well are we doing as leaders? What are our behaviors? Be it in organizational leadership or in project leadership, how are our behaviors contributing to the success? Dave Ramsey says, Organizations are never limited by their opportunity. They're limited by their leadership. And in my eyes, what I hear Dave saying is the leader sets the tone. The leader really sets the tone. And I didn't get this early in my career. I, almost on a daily basis, feel compelled to write apology notes for the people that worked for me in the first 2 years of my management career, because I was terrible as I look back at it now. I thought I had to be the smartest person in the room. I thought I had to be the genius. I thought it was acceptable to tell other people what they should do without asking their opinion, because that's what managers do, right? We sit in our office with, whose name's on the door? Mine. My name's not theirs. My name's on the door. Who's got the title behind their name? Me. I was setting the wrong tone. And it strikes me today that there are some great ways that a leader can set the tone in an organization in order to drive the desired outcomes and the desired behaviors from the people that work in those organizations.